This job, we try to save as many people as we can. Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody. But you don't give up.
New York, Washington, D.C., Sokovia.
Okay, that's enough.
Captain, people are afraid.
That's why I'm here. We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game.
I'm sorry, Tony. If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. Sometimes I wish I could.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
I know we're not perfect. But the safest hands are still our own. I was wrong about you. The whole world was wrong about you. They're coming for you.
I'm not the one that needs to watch their back.
This doesn't have to end in a fight, Tony.
You just started a war. Stay down. Final warning.
I could do this all day.
All right, I've run out of patience. On to roost!
Hey, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody. You're far too kind to me. Thank you. That's so nice. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say to you guys, congratulations on this achievement. You know, a superhero movie, any kind of movie of this magnitude, is no small feat, no matter how much you have at your disposal. And you guys do an amazing, amazing job. It's definitely one of the best I've ever seen, if not the best, in terms of storytelling. I mean, you guys tell a mean story in this movie. Can you talk about how you did that, how you juggled all of the pieces for this, and how long it sort of took to put it all together?
Oh, man. Yeah, we just keep, for us, it is all story driven and it's all character driven. Like all of our work, I think in our whole career, our comedy was known for being very character focused, and we approach these movies the same way. And when you have these kind of actors playing the characters, it's an amazing thing for a storyteller. So look, we've been able to watch these characters develop, largely into a bit of a surrogate family with one another over the course of several films now, and this movie is very much about how that family gets split apart. And
you sort of tap into your Arrested Development chops for that, like a kind of family falling apart from the inside.
Yeah, they're all dysfunctional families, but I mean, look, that's the relatable part, right? Because all trouble comes to every family, and I think that's the part of this story that makes it very relatable. And it's like, how do you watch people push through a problem like that? And can the relationships ever be the same again, after an experience like that?
Absolutely. You two have an incredible storyline in the film, kind of in many ways the heart of the film. I thought the two of you were really hilarious together and really fun to watch. Can you talk about working on your scenes together and building this out? Were you expecting this kind of storyline for your characters before you got the script?
It was very difficult working with Lizzie. I felt like I carried her the whole way through the.
You do physically carry her at times in the movie, don't you?
Well, I've practiced because I've been carrying Downey for like 8 years. No, it was lovely actually. It does. Those scenes feel like the moral compass for the movie, and they're arguably the most dangerous superheroes. They're like walking nuclear bombs, and they have a lot in common because of that, and it was a lot of fun. Plus, I love paprikash.
Yeah. I don't know if we knew, we don't really know what's coming, but Joss and Ultron tried to speckle in, some sort of connection between the two of them, or that she was interested in him and what sources him, because it sources her powers, and there's that kind of pure connection between the two of them as well.
Mr. Bozeman, your character was announced at one of the sort of big events about a year ago, I think, maybe 2 years ago.
At El Capitan.
And in this film, we get to see a fair amount of your origin. Was this part of the pitch to you, part of the plan for you when they brought this to your attention?
Well, they didn't necessarily pitch it. It's just kind of like, do you want to do it?
You were probably doing some of the pitching over there, like, I can do this.
No, to be honest, I didn't want to come in and mess it up. I think they have a good thing going. Joe and Anthony certainly know what they're doing, so I just wanted to live up to what everybody else was doing when I came in. So I had some ideas, and they definitely listened to them, but I knew that they would have the right foundation for me. So,
Sebastian, we definitely get to see a different side of the Winter Soldier in this. Was that something you were prepared to do, something that you were excited to do when you went into the last Captain America movie? Did you know that you were going to be progressing this way, this character?
Well, it's kind of the scripts for me are like a nice Christmas present, because I never really know what they're gonna do with the guy, and so that's always fun. But I did from the post-credit scene know that I was coming back, so that was comforting.
Awesome, I got another gig. Thank
always,
you.
Yeah.
What do you guys? A lot of people have been a part of the Marvel family and tried to develop these the Avengers movies as well as many of the other characters' sort of side movies. To what do you think you owe your success of being able to work with Marvel so well and just sort of and really create these fantastic experiences?
I think it's probably two things. One is I've been collecting comic books since I was 10 years old, so we understand the core mythology. We're fans of the characters. When you fall in love with storytelling at a young age, you have a real emotional connection to it, and so we love these characters. And the other thing is that by nature our relationship, my brother and I, is purely collaborative. It has to be. We have to discuss everything, and we're not threatened by ideas. We invite ideas. We like having a very organic Zen process. We always say best idea wins. So, we're open to discussion on any point in the movie, as long as we feel like it's advancing the storytelling and solidifying the logic behind the film. We love, I think working with this, as Anth mentioned, we have we're blessed with a Steven Soderbergh level of cast on these movies, and we love working with the actors and getting input from them about where they feel their characters should be going, what is important to their characters. They're going to know their characters better than we'll ever know them. So I think, on a movie of this scale, you have to have a very definitive point of view, which we do, but you also have to be very collaborative and open to the process, because you can find a lot of gold in every situation.
I also have to say that, as far as superhero movies go, this is probably one of the most visually rich that I've ever seen. It's incredibly well made. Is that something that you sort of went into? Is that just sort of your filmmaking style? You know how to do that? Or did you go into these being like, I want the Captain America movies, like the last one as well as this one, I want them to look as beautiful as absolutely possible and not just like a sort of big action blockbuster movie? Stylish, they're very stylish and gorgeous to look at.
It's an aesthetic choice, obviously, but it all is a function of storytelling for us. What is the story that we wanted to tell? It was very important to us in the Captain America movies that we ground them as much as we could in realism, as much as you can ground a superhero film. And that dictates a lot of the aesthetic choices that we make. We use a lot of handheld cameras. We use a lot of longer lenses. This movie has a progression from the style of Winter Soldier into a style that I think is going to resemble more of what the Infinity War movies will look like. The lenses did tend to get a little wider as the movie progressed, as the characters started to interact with each other. Now you're dealing with this, this massive ensemble. And I think what is really unprecedented about what Marvel is doing. I think this is the future of storytelling, is that, the audience has an incredible emotional investment in these characters over many years. And they're taking all of these different franchises, which would be very healthy on their own, and they're weaving them into a unified narrative. And I think that allows us to take chances with the look of it. It allows us to take chances with how we execute it, because a lot of the work has been done for us leading up to this movie. A movie like Civil War could not be made if not for 8 years of storytelling that preceded it. We couldn't have all these characters in the movie. We couldn't tell this many origins in one film. It would be a 7-hour movie and it'd be a mess. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. Continue.
No, I was just saying that, so I think from an aesthetic standpoint, it's fed by the storytelling, it's fed by the scale, it's fed by the amount of characters that we have to work with, how visually distinct they all are, and the tones. That's the other thing that's unique about Marvel, is that every franchise has its own tone. And so a movie like Civil War, we get to bring in new characters like Black Panther, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, and they're bringing different. Ant-Man has a very different tone to it than the Captain America movies. But when
completely changes the dynamic of that massive set piece.
Absolutely. Yeah, it complicates it and layers the tone and varies it so that we don't get stuck in a very sort of modular, oppressive tone.
Are you guys always kind of blown away when you get to see the final product of these movies? Because so much of the movie is not essentially what you're doing on set in terms of these massive set pieces?
Yes.
Good answer.
I'm so confused sorry if this is loud.
You're fine. Okay.
I'm always amazed by all the little bits that we come in and film for like the massive airport sequence, and having like an idea, because you look at previs and you can see a cartoon version of it, but you really have no understanding or idea of what's happening until you see the movie. And so I feel like I get to watch it for the first time just like an audience would every time we get to watch them. I mean, I just saw it like the other day, so I'm still blown away.
Yeah, like when you get the script, it's a weird thing, because usually when you get any other script, you can read it the first time and you get it, Second time, you're like, I know it by heart. With this, you have to read it like 3 or 4 times before you can really understand what's going on, before you can comment on it, before you can do anything. And even then, like you said, you see previs, and then you kind of have a sense, like you said, Ant-Man, the way in this movie, it sort of makes a change in tone. Like you add that comedy aspect to this movie that you had in Ant-Man for a second. I think that's what makes it such a rich meal when you watch it. So you don't get what everybody else is doing on their days, because you're not there every day, and even if you are, you're not on their set. So, they can split up and be 2 different. It can be 2 different sets. Second unit is just as extravagant as the first unit, because you have 2 directors here. So you don't see everything until the movie is.
They always say that that actors have to put a lot of trust into the directors for movies. I can't imagine more trust that has to be put into any other director than a superhero movie, because so much is happening when the actor is not there. So you could give your all in a great dramatic scene with Chris Evans, but if the action is going to complement all of that genre,
I always
drama.
give my all.
Well, Sebastian, I said you
with
could.
Chris Evans.
I said you could. No, you do. I'm sorry. I just pissed off the way.
Yeah, the directors are great too. You were saying?
I don't fucking know, man.
It's amazing that they have this overarching vision. Yeah. I mean, it's shocking to me. It's something that I could never comprehend. I like playing a little part and leaving, because the larger idea is something I can't even understand to put together. There's so much time in pre-production. There's so much time in post-production. We have so many people that get credits at the end of these credits. There are so many people. And we're the ones like standing up here, like representing this like huge system, but it's huge, and it's incredible to have these 2 amazing directors on our side.
I'm kind of curious. You mentioned this huge system. Does that feel, as actors, when you take on the role of these superheroes, Do you sort of recognize or feel that weight a little bit, that you are taking on the weight of this massive system that is putting out not just this movie, but several other movies tied to it?
No, I don't.
It's a lot of pressure if you think about it.
I'm blonde and I'm an actor, so I don't really tend to
You're a blonde actor.
have those kind of thoughts.
What thoughts do you have?
Well,
Has none,
I tell
'cause
you
he's a
what.
blonde actor.
Here's what I think is just alone the amount of plate spinning that's going on with these two. With every fan has their favorite character and their favorite superhero, whatever, and we have to pay this off and we have to pay that off. Okay, they did that, but they also made it totally organic, and not just them, also the writers. You know, make it organic to the film, and I hate the word organic, but I just used it in the only way that it's actually useful. It really feels a part of the story, everybody's little moment, and also the film, right at the moment that you might be thinking, well, superhero movies, I mean, really, don't they just ignore the bigger picture, and buildings come down and the camera passes, you know, and go, right at the moment when you're thinking, what happened to that office worker in that building, there's a movie that is all about what happened to that office when it, you know, that building crumbled. And to make a four-quadrant movie, a popcorn movie that touches on issues that really affect us all, like unilateral intervention of a superpower in a foreign country, and make it really entertaining is an extraordinary feat.
Absolutely.
And anybody who's ever made one film ever and looks at this movie knows it's an extraordinary job that they did, and you're to be congratulated. I'm going to. But it's true. It's hard stuff to do.
Absolutely. I mean, that is something that I'm curious about. We did kind of see it a little bit with Batman versus Superman earlier this year, but I think more so with this movie, comic book movies are starting to find their moral center. They're starting to find a moral compass, if you will. Was that something that you were excited about when it came to this movie, that you could sort of talk about a lot of at least address some of the criticisms that comic book movies have had in the past few years, which is that it's just, you know, mass destruction for the sake of one minute goal? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see in a lot of the work that Joe and I have done, we like being very self-aware of the genre and sort of playing with like what audiences' expectations are of the genre, what our awareness of, and finding ways to kind of subvert those expectations and those experiences of the genre. So yes, that was very much at the heart of what we wanted to do with this movie. We did want to tell this sort of sensitive character story about the collateral damage, and we were looking at it through the prism of, you know, we've come to expect these gigantic, bombastic third acts where everything gets destroyed, and that's the pattern, and the superhero defeats the villain in the third act, and there's lots of destruction, end of movie, right? This movie works very hard to one, be conscious of those dynamics in the genre, and then number two, find a way to subvert those dynamics and those expectations, because we move into a third act climax in this movie that is very, very different from that. It's very, very personal, and it's not between the superhero and the villain, it's between the superhero and the superheroes.
And even the setting itself, and I'm really going to not give anything away or try not to, even the setting itself is a subversion of what you said, the usual dynamic or the usual landscape environment that they are fighting in. I'm curious, when you go into doing something like this and you know that you are subverting expectations or sort of recreating expectations when it comes to something people are so used to, were you nervous? Were you like, well, hopefully this works? You know, we know that this is something that we want to do in response or in regards to a lot of other superhero movies before this, but maybe those things that were there before, those expectations existed because that's how they had to work.
Well, it's interesting. I think social media is helping drive, you know, the sort of the way that people are perceiving storytelling moving forward. And I think that we learned very early on in our careers that when we made something because it spoke to us, that we had much greater success than when we made something trying to anticipate what it was that the audience wanted. And then when we've taken greater risks, they've always paid off. And I think that, you know, It was important for this movie, especially when you consider how ubiquitous superhero films are right now, that we do something different, that we do something that, like Ant said, would subvert your expectations. You can be predictive. You can look forward and go, just me as a fan, as a guy who goes and watches movies with my son at a midnight screening when we're really excited about a film, I'm going to be sick of this by the time this movie comes out. Right. So we, just using that internal metric, that we use that to help guide us and take a big risk with the story. And Marvel's incredibly supportive. Truly one of the healthier creative experiences we've ever had is working hand in hand with Kevin Feige, who's a maverick as well and is really interested in where can we keep going to challenge the genre.
Sebastian, were you surprised where they took your character in this movie?
No, not really. I mean, I thought it was going to have to be a combination of what we've seen so far, with glimpses of the origin of the guy, But I don't know. I mean, I got to do a little bit of everything, so it was fun from that. I was really surprised that they wanted me to laugh at any point in time. Lines are always great. Didn't have that last time. So, I mean, I kind of feel like...
Did anyone tell you were going to have lines?
It's a win.
Did anyone tell you that you were going to have lines, or was that part of the Christmas present in the script?
They did, and then I got worried because that meant, like, I have to say things now, But...
you got paid by the word in the first movie, so we had to be very careful. Unfrozen caveman soldier.
I'm going to open it up to questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions for the folks on the stage? No? All right, well, no, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, hi, thank you all so much for coming, and I'd like to ask the cast how you knew you wanted to be an actor.
Oh, I couldn't make it as a guitar player. That's the kind of truth. Truly, I realized I really loved John Lennon for writing a song like Mother, You Had Me, But I Never Had You. And I thought, that's great and all, but I really don't want anybody to actually know that much about me. So it's a really great way of, people can say, oh, I bet you're a bit like that. I bet you're a lot like that, but they don't really know unless they're my wife, And I like that buffer.
I don't remember like a time when I wasn't in a camp or making films with my friends. Like since I have a memory, that's all we did. And then I think it was
fucking millennials. Unbelievable. They were making film. They don't remember not making film.
I mean, they were very different than the technology today. You had to rewind on the camera and then record over if you made a mistake. That was a big
deal. I had to do
deal.
it on wax when I was a kid.
What does that mean?
I'm making that up.
You carved stories into wax?
Yes.
But I think it was my high school teacher in studying theater and studying the Actors Studio in Strasbourg and the kind of pretentious element of studying being an actor, which made it academic for me and historical. And that was something that I felt actually served a purpose as opposed to just something that is frilly and beautiful to look at.
Chadwick?
Why you come over here? You could have went that way. I wanted to be a writer and a director more so than an actor, and I still write. Like I'm writing stuff now, or have written stuff recently. But I had in the process of learning those two crafts. I took acting classes, and I had a teacher, Felicia Rashad, who sort of, I guess you know who she is. She was the one who sort of sparked the acting, bug in me and made me realize how powerful it was. And so in the process, acting became no different than the other two skills. it informed and enforced the other two skills. And so it's not that I don't want to do the other things. It's just that this is the expression that you are seeing at this moment. All right.
I mean, I'd always dabbled with it a little bit since I was little. My mom was always trying to get me to auditions and stuff, but I was just scared for a really long time, and I didn't want to get involved. And then I had this friend in high school who was hard of hearing, and he just, he was auditioning for the school play, and I remember making fun of him and being like, "That's stupid." And he turned to me and he said, "Well, you're a pussy." And then he got on stage and he ended up doing Importance of Being Earnest. I remember he was so great and so fearless, even with this disability or whatever. He just shined in such a way to me that it was like the one thing that I remember being the sort of, that pushed me to kind of try out and then go on from there.
Did you get the lead in the next play instead of him? Did you beat him out?
I did not. The next play was Little Shop of Horrors, and I was bummed too.
Next question.
Hey, guys, everybody. So my question basically is for the Russos. This is pretty much your first time being able to play with everybody from the Marvel Universe. That's big time. What was it like having, the creative freedom to work with everybody for the first time, and for people coming back from Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron? What was it like working together again, but under a new director?
It was fantastic because, like I said earlier, what Marvel's doing is unprecedented in the scale of storytelling. And, to be able to get all of these characters together in one movie, especially for me as a comic book fan, was like a dream come true. I will say that the actors that, were the best to work with and the hardest working were, I think, Sebastian, Lizzie, Bettany, and Chadwick. If you put me on the spot, and
I would
made me
agree with
pick,
that, actually.
He's not kidding. He's really serious.
No, it's. I think this is only a sample size of what we're going to get in Infinity War, and I think we're building towards, two of the largest scale movies ever attempted. So. We'll see what happens with them, but we're excited.
We as storytellers, in Chadwick's situation in this film, we were building the character together with him from scratch, which was is an amazing experience. But to be able to rely upon these actors here who had played the character prior to our involvement, it's like that's also an amazing a creative experience for us to be able to rely on them and sort of explore their understanding of their characters in terms of how we form our own understanding of those characters. That's really a very fun and exciting creative process for my brother and I to sort of feed off of their knowledge and their instincts.
Next question.
Hello, everyone. I'm not gonna stand here and pretend like this isn't freaking me out. I'm just going crazy sitting here. I watched these movies for so long and I've dreamt of this moment. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm great. Sebastian, my friend.
What's your name?
Althea.
Beautiful name.
Thank you. Sebastian, my friend Leslie is watching. She wanted me to tell you she loves you, and if you could just say hi to her, please, that'd be great. Thank you
Hi,
so
Leslie.
much. Thank you. She's.
See you at the club.
Oh, good.
I'm trying. He's not here, but I'm trying, okay? We all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm trying to represent.
That was pretty good.
He's channeling the spirit of Anthony Mackie.
No, that is... I thought that was Chris.
Same guy.
It's the two of them together.
And I love you as well, Sebastian. You're so beautiful. Anyway, so I have my kids here. My son wants to know, was it difficult to wear the costumes and act in the costumes? And my daughter wants to know who wins. Don't answer that.
These are really good questions. I think it's frankly, as far as the costume thing goes, it's kind of a dead heat between him and me in terms of discomfort. But, there are plenty of ways to be uncomfortable and not earn a handsome reward. You could work for Verizon. Just saying. Sorry. You can cut that bit out. But it's true, you know, it's terrible hearing actors moan about being uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable working in the suits, but we were really, really well paid. So
It's more uncomfortable being unemployed.
yeah, it's a lot more uncomfortable being unemployed or on a picket line. Just saying. Ooh, and a chill entered the room.
I think like there were probably a handful of people in here that work at Verizon that just didn't like that.
Oh, we're owned by Verizon.
Really? Yeah. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. I'm a scab right now.
I could not help to say that, man.
I'm downing tools. That's funny.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's so great.
I think we have time for one more question.
Oh, man.
Wait, just to be clear then, does everyone in here work at Verizon?
No.
Okay, cool.
See, that's a little less embarrassing.
Yeah, it's less embarrassing.
Thank you so much for being here. My question is, if you had a superhero name, based on the skills that you possess, what would your superhero name be?
Wait, before you answer, are you Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
I'm Team Nothing. I'm not even excited about this movie.
Okay.
What? It's a Verizon statement, Paul. You shouldn't have done that, man. You're just eating shit now.
Oh, no.
Bettany, what about Captain Verizon? What do you think of that?
Captain Verizon, yes.
What would your superpowers be if you were Captain Verizon?
I think I would be really my my only real talent is I would be like Captain Spaghetti Bolognese because it's really my thing. You're laughing at me and it's a little hurtful. I make a great spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, I was just thinking that you're really good at eating it.
Captain Spaghetti Bolognese. What's your thing, babe?
I have no idea right now. I have no idea. It would be, my skill would be diverting, getting away from this question right now.
Captain Diversion.
Captain Invisibility.
I'm so bad at these questions because I always take them really sincerely, and no one laughs, and it doesn't feel good. I think the skill I'm most proud of is being really nurturing to my friends.
That's so sweet.
It would be something along those lines. I'm kind of like a mommy to them, I think. Not like I'm talked down to them, but I like taking care of everyone. Yeah. I miss them.
I like to think that loyalty means something to me. But then I'm kind of with you on the food issue. I also enjoy burgers, so I may be like the loyal burger man, I guess. I don't know.
I was hoping it was going to be spaghetti bolognese as well. And
I would have beaten you down on that one, I tell you.
The microphone would have been thrown out.
Civil Food Wars.
Yes.
What about you guys outside of directing? Outside of obviously making movies is your superhero skill, but what else?
What do we do other than make these movies?
What would be your superhero skill?
We don't do anything.
We were right on the...
They're cryogenetically frozen until Marvel needs them again.
Ask that question of these guys in 2035.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. It's such an incredible achievement. I agree with you completely. I praise these guys and the incredible work that they've done on this movie. It comes out this Friday, right?
Actually, tomorrow. You can start watching tomorrow at 7 p.m.
I don't think I have to tell anybody here to go see it. You're going to see it. It's Captain America Civil War. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.